Hello, all my friends. Welcome to Recovery Connection. I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. We have a special podcast tonight because it's the beginning of a series we like to call Voices in Recovery. And I'm really excited to have Michelle with us tonight. But before we get there, I want to make a few announcements. And remember, there's a question and answer portion at the end of this podcast, and we always look forward to your questions. We love answering them, and we love the great ideas that you come up with to ask us. Remember that this podcast is available on all our streaming platforms in a week after our live podcast, which you're watching right now. And you can go on to Spotify and Google or whatever platform that you follow or watch. And then remember that you can follow us on all our social media, Facebook, even LinkedIn if you want to look up Jericho Road, Instagram. So join us and follow us as we take this journey together. So I'm going to jump right in and say hello to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
This is my good friend, Michelle B.
Hello.
And Michelle and I know each other from our 12-step program. And I'm always very impressed with what Michelle shares when we talk, and we've gotten to know each other quite well, I would think. Do you think that? Maybe? Quite well?
Yeah, pretty well.
And so Michelle's going to share with us a little, and then we're going to jump into a few topics of discussion that we've kind of picked and thought that would be really interesting to chat about. So let's just jump right in. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Michelle. I identify as an alcoholic. I have been sober for just over 3 years now. I started my drinking career when I was 13, and I'm just going to pull up my notes so I don't lose myself. I continued drinking for a good solid 10 years and like very alcoholically. Even in the beginning, I realized that like I didn't drink like normal people.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop me for a long time because I felt so different. I had to suppress all of that with more booze and sometimes drugs and all of that along the lines. I continued till I was 23, and it was getting really bad by then. I know my parents were worried that they were going to get a phone call that I had been found somewhere or I was dead. I was potentially going to lose my job. I was losing lots of friends. I couldn't hold a relationship to save my life. Everybody who knew me well enough was worried about me. And I didn't want to admit that I had a problem, even though I knew I did. But I hit my rock bottom, and that was extremely scary because I felt more alone in my life than I ever did at that point. And then I found AA. And
how did you find AA?
So it's funny because it's a little confusing. So my sister's best friend in high school, she had like two really good friends that she hung out with all the time. One of them, unfortunately, we did lose. She passed away a few years ago to an overdose.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That is okay. She is still remembered and loved every day. But the other woman that they used to hang out with as well, her father was a big part of the program.
Okay.
So my mother, trying to push me to get some help before I was ready at that point, she contacted him and asked if he had a number of someone who I could reach out to.
Yeah.
And he gave my mother the name and number to my first sponsor.
Okay.
So I had this number and name on a sticky note in my room for like a few months, and I didn't want to call it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like take that first step to be like, I was like, no, I'm not done. I'm fine. I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody else. I can do this by myself. That lasted like a whole day. But
But you didn't throw it away either.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't throw the phone number away. It was still in my room. I would just avoid going home after work to see that note. I would just wait and like go right out to the bars or go right out with my friends
Yeah.
and drink instead of going home to see that number and then going out, because it would make me think like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't drink today, but nothing was going to stop me anyways. I just avoided going home. But then I got in a little bit of trouble with the law, and then I didn't stop drinking after that. And then I realized that, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah.
So I called her. She answered me within like 0.5 seconds. And I'm just like, who is this girl? You know, like, what is going on? And then the next day, I went and I met her in a second cup.
Yeah.
A stranger who I had never met before in my life. I had talked to her for a whole like 15 minutes, and I went and I sat with her and she shared her story, and I looked at her, who had years of sobriety, who seemed to have peace and was happy with her life and doing well.
Yeah.
And I was jealous.
Yeah.
Like the jealousy started to come up, but then I wanted to strive to be like that.
Yeah.
I saw the peace, the love, the serenity that she had.
Yeah.
And I wanted that. So that day, that moment, I decided I was going to get sober.
Yeah.
And then I asked her to be my sponsor. I got into the rooms. I started doing step work right off the bat.
Good, yeah.
I started doing service. She kind of like, she pushed me a little bit to do that stuff, but I thank her every day for it, because if she didn't, I don't know where I would be. But she was stubborn and hard-headed just like I was. But I put 2 feet into the program, and it was the best thing that I ever did for my life. It changed everything. I was dishonest, selfish, self-centered, all the things that we are. And now I'm reliable, dependable, honest, the things that I knew that I could be, but I was scared to be at first. So when I got in the rooms, I did 90% of what I was told. And
Well, that still puts you in the top echelon, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did okay. But I got the sponsor. I worked the steps. I listened to the people that had been in there for years, and I strive to be better. I strive to do more. I strive to be a part of the community and really put my life into it,
Yeah.
because it was my life on the
Yeah.
line. Because without the program, I don't know where I would be. I
Yeah.
potentially wouldn't even be here right now. I could be dead.
Yeah.
I could be homeless, living on the streets. I could be so many things that I am not right now. And I am so grateful for everything that the program has given me, and the opportunities and the people that I've gotten to meet, and just to be able to see myself in a different light.
Do you find, I got to ask, because, you know, there is a little bit of an age difference between you and I. Do you find that there are more challenges coming into the 12 steps being the age that you are, or?
I can definitely say that coming into AA as a 23-year-old
Yeah.
was very hard,
Why?
because it is very common,
Yeah.
like, and I'm using quotations right now. I forget people can't see me. Quotations, common and normal for people to be drinking at that age,
Yeah.
because it's the party times.
Yeah.
It's your 20s. You want to have fun. You
Yeah.
want to enjoy yourself. You want to go out and do whatever you want to do, because you can figure it all out later on in life.
Yeah.
Being young definitely was a tough thing for me, but it also, now looking back, I'm happy I did. And even though it was tough and it was weird, and it was like, you know, I would be talking to someone my age and they'd be asking me like, oh, hey, do you want to go out and grab a drink? I'd be like, actually, I don't drink. You know, it was weird for people to hear that from someone my age. But now I'm 26, I'm 3 years sober, and I can show people that it's possible.
Yeah. And to me, from, you know, looking at that perspective, that's what makes me grateful, because we need young people, that have that experience that you have, to be able to carry that message to other young people.
Exactly. Like if another 23-year-old walks
Yeah.
in the room,
Yeah.
at least like I can relate with them
Yeah.
so well, and they can feel like they're
As opposed to an old fart like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
like
No, I get it.
But working with someone
Yeah.
who's close in your age group is a good
Yeah.
thing. I found that with my sponsor, it was great because she really understood like my busy lifestyle and, like being young and wanting to still live my life and have fun,
Yeah.
but not have booze
Yeah.
a part of it.
Well, and that's the other side of that coin, is that there's not a lot of young people in the program, because A, they're either not done yet,
Yeah.
right? Or B, they don't make it that far,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So we need young people like yourself. We
Yeah.
definitely do.
But at the same time, we still need people who have been in the program for a long
That's
time,
right,
because
yeah.
like I've learned so much from you, from your shares and your experiences. And without that, I wouldn't be able to take what I've learned from you,
Yeah.
turn it into like my version of it and share it with someone
Yeah.
that can maybe understand it a little bit better
Yeah.
that way.
How it works, right?
Yeah.
How it works. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow, fabulous. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was COVID and recovery.
Yeah.
And because it's I think it's important, as our first Voices in Recovery podcast, that we talk about it, because it's been challenging over the past year and a half, 2 years, right?
100%.
So what do you think would be the biggest issue that you've faced in your recovery during this weird time?
Well, when I first came in the rooms, you would hug everybody.
Yeah.
And that physical connection that you got from people, like that really helped.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot in my early days, is like, being able to walk up to a newcomer, or being the newcomer myself
Yeah.
and have someone come up, like another woman come up and give me a hug and say that it's all going to be okay. Like that connection and that physical connection with people, that is a big thing that I have missed over this
Yeah.
past while with the whole COVID.
I think one of the words that I had used when we were talking was that intimacy, right?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
lacking that intimacy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you know what? We are like, we're all human.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we like to be hugged. Some people don't, but like, like I'm talking about me here. Like, I like to hug people.
We know who those
okay,
people are.
exactly. But I like to hug people. I like to feel that, because
Yeah.
like you do get such a connection with someone, and a hug could make or break it for
Yeah.
me in my early time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'd call one of the girls that I knew, and I'd just be like, "Hey, can I come see you?" And I'd literally walk to
Yeah.
their door, get a hug, and be like, "Thank you," and walk away.
I needed that.
I just needed that
Yeah.
hug. I needed that like physical connection, that intimacy with you, that like, it's almost like it's a solidifying, like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I have missed very much.
One of the things that I've noticed in my recovery with Zoom meetings and whatnot is, excuse me, it's hard to have a private conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Very difficult.
It's very difficult to pull someone aside in the room, especially if you've heard them share something that maybe is going on in your life and that you can relate to, and you want to talk to them about it. It's next to impossible to do that on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
And
unless
so-
you're typing it, and then it's not the
Yeah.
same.
Well, if you're a one-finger typer like me, it's very hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I usually just, if I noticed there was a woman who was new, I'd private message her and send her my phone number and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, give me a call after
Yeah.
the meeting if you'd like," or like text me and we can chat, or we can go for coffee sometime. But yeah, that was definitely another thing that I missed.
We have a friend of ours, both you and I, in the program, and he says there's no such thing as problems, just opportunities. And so, what do you think we were able to do as a fellowship during this time that created opportunities?
As a fellowship,
As a fellowship.
like we
Do you think that we met each other more frequently because of the lack of meetings?
I know that there was a few women that I would meet with
Yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
regularly than we would have, or we'd be in contact. Like usually if we would see each other at 1 or 2 meetings a week, we'd be contacting each other every day or two instead of going like a full week without seeing each other, because when we got that face to face, we got everything.
Yeah.
And we'd meet up for coffee, or we would do more Zoom meetings together, and we would I would FaceTime with women as well and do all that.
That's right. I forgot about FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
FaceTime
I
was a big
FaceTimed a
thing.
lot. I never FaceTimed before.
No, I was
Yeah.
never a big person for it
Yeah.
either. And I started doing it a lot more too with a bunch of the women that
Yeah.
I knew in the rooms. And it was helpful
Yeah.
because then I got that the one-on-one that you missed after the meetings
Yeah.
where you're standing outside
Yeah.
and chit-chatting with people, or
Yeah.
being able to go up to someone and be like, oh, I loved what you shared,
Yeah. Yeah.
can you talk to me more about that?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did a lot more texting, phone calls, extra meetings, and FaceTimes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
I think another thing that we did too is in my experience, we had a lot more interaction outdoors, even
Yeah.
in the winter.
Yeah.
You know, where we would meet down at Dow's Lake on the canal or something, and enjoy a coffee or a hot chocolate, and just skate and shoot the breeze and
Yeah.
and just get connected.
Of course.
Whereas I think with the in-person meetings, we're less likely to do things like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. What about some of the positive things that happened because of Zoom meetings? And you and I were talking about this before, and your
Yeah.
number one was?
Being able to travel without traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, going all over the world and being able to hear stories that you never would have been able to before
Yeah.
without the Zoom meetings. It was amazing. I've heard some beautiful stories in the times that I've I've gone to the States, I've gone to Hawaii, I've gone to so many other places that I would have never been to without the Zoom.
And the availability, right? Because,
Yeah, at your
because of the time
fingertips.
zone differences too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
one night that I was having a rough night and I just felt like I needed a meeting. It was 11:30 at night and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then I checked for time zone wise and there was one starting in 10 minutes. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is perfect. This is great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was always available.
Yeah.
And you being able to listen to and experience different kinds of meetings and the styles and the different ways that things are
Yeah.
ran in different places.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I was reading an article in Grapevine in the issue last month, and they were talking about that. And this woman wrote in, and she was saying that she got a home group on Zoom, and it was in Australia, and that was because she was a night shift worker.
Okay.
And so she was able to go on to this meeting when she got home from her night shift at 2:30 in the morning or whatever time it was.
Yeah.
And she became a part of this group, and that was her home group.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I just love hearing stuff like that,
That's
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have that before.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to experience that. And actually, that poor woman would probably be grasping at straws and
Yeah,
waking up
that's
extra
right.
early when
Yeah,
she
yeah,
needs to
yeah,
sleep
yeah.
and
Yeah,
she's already
adjusting
overrun.
her schedule.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think the bonus for us is that this isn't going to end. I think
Nope.
Zoom meetings now are going to be always ongoing.
Yeah, or the hybrid ones where it's like the both.
Yeah,
that's awesome too.
Yeah, because I think it gives us a lot more opportunity, especially with life and how life unfolds,
Yeah.
with work and commitments and family and whatnot, that, as you said, when we really need a meeting, we know that we can grab onto one.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if I turned around one morning and woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I need a meeting right now.
Yeah.
I can go walk over to my computer, sit in my chair,
Yeah.
and I can find a meeting.
Yeah.
And it's right there, and it's so
but that
easily
being
available.
said, are you happy to be back to in-person meetings?
I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic. I understand for a lot of people who came into recovery,
Yeah.
during COVID, they don't really understand, or they didn't get the experience from before. But me being having had time in the program before COVID hit, I missed that a lot.
Yeah.
And the face-to-face, and a lot of the people who come like for some people they have to get up and get in their car and go somewhere. They won't do the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And now they have that available to them again, which is amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm super happy. But man, did I miss in-person meetings.
I think it's because we were also used to that's the way that things were, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very hard. As you and I both know, change is very difficult for us.
Oh yeah, of course. Nobody likes change.
Having to I hate using this word, but having to pivot and start, but it's good. It's good for us because it teaches us to adapt. It teaches us to change, and it's not forever, right?
No.
So we did what we did.
Yeah.
And we move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it gave us the opportunity to experience something new.
Yeah.
Even though, as you said, we don't like change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of puts us on the spot a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
But we survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was tough.
It was. Yeah. For a lot of us, it was tough.
Yeah. I can say personally, it was very tough and it was very different for me to try and like adapt from going to like getting in my car or walking to a meeting compared to sitting at my desk and kind of feeling a little lonely after. But I started to reach out to other women and it was so helpful.
I heard a buddy of mine say, "What's wrong with Zoom meetings? The fridge is 12 feet away."
Yeah.
And on the other side of that too, we get to see some interesting things on Zoom meetings, right?
Oh yeah. I get to see everybody's dogs. That made my day.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
I remember I was on one meeting and a guy was making his dinner.
Oh, nice.
He put the computer in the kitchen and had it on and he says, I don't want to be impolite and I want people to know that I'm there.
Yeah.
But he made his dinner and sat down and during the whole meeting, it was fabulous.
Huh.
Got to do what
Nice.
you got to do, right?
You get to see people for who they truly
That's
are.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. COVID over and done with.
Yep.
As we move on. Now, this is the big meat and potatoes.
Oh,
I'm so
yay.
looking forward to this.
I know. It's so fantastic.
Michelle and I picked kind of a main topic of conversation for tonight,
Woo.
and that was
Relationships
in recovery. Wow.
Ooh, so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Where do you want to begin?
Oh, I don't know. You pick.
Let's start with the difference between 12-stepping and 13-stepping.
Okay.
What's 13-stepping, Michelle?
Experienced members, men or women, pursuing a romantic relationship with a new group member.
Wow.
Yes. Straightforward, pretty open,
So
easy to understand.
Why does it happen in the rooms?
Oh gosh, multiple reasons. Filling a void.
Filling a void, yeah.
That's probably like, and in my experience, the number one. The loneliness of, and quotations again, loneliness of recovery in the beginning and how you feel, and that you are losing a crutch and you want to put that onto something or someone else.
Yeah.
And whether your intentions are pure and good, sometimes you need to take a step back and make sure that you are doing what is best for the newcomer.
Yes.
And that is very hard to do if you are starting a romantic relationship with somebody. I say I should have, honestly, I'm just going to like blurt it out and say it straightforward. Listen to your sponsors, okay? Just do it, please. I made my mistakes in my early recovery, and sometimes I wish I could go back and change it, but you know what? I can't, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because now I've learned and I can share that with other people. But listen to your sponsors, okay? They are right. They know what they're talking about, and avoid at all cost in the beginning.
And then it also to me it goes back to our responsibility pledge, right?
Yeah.
We are responsible. So if you see something that doesn't look right, or someone says something that they don't feel comfortable, then it's up to us to say something.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It is. And like, it's really tough because I know how it can feel to be lonely and new into a program. Like if you're single and you're coming into the program, like you have been given a very good opportunity to really work on yourself, because I know that my taste changed drastically from what I looked for in a person in my early recovery to what I look for in someone now.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't been in some of those relationships that I was in, I wouldn't know as much as I do now.
Yeah.
I would potentially be a little bit more quote unquote, like, I don't want to say this word, but like a little naive into it.
Yeah.
You know, like jumping into the next possible thing that for all I know could be horrible.
Well, the other thing too, as you said, you know, if we're you know, actively engaged in working our recovery, we grow.
Yeah.
And so what I thought I wanted in early recovery
could be the complete opposite
exactly
of what you want 2 or 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
Like,
Which begs us the big question: when should you be in a relationship in recovery? Because I know everyone's, you know, has an opinion on that.
Yeah.
And so I'll break the ice and I'll give my opinion.
Okay.
I say 2 years minimum.
I'd say minimum the 2-year mark too. But I also think that there's some criteria that you should probably meet before that as well. Like 2 years down the line, that means 2 years down the line, you've worked your 12 steps.
Yeah.
You've been active in the program. Yeah. You're doing things for your recovery.
Yeah.
And you've done like little things like get a plant. Like, and make a plant live, okay? If you can keep a plant alive for a year, good for you.
Yeah.
Do that, like, if you want to rush, do it right after a year.
Yeah.
Or get it right at the beginning. See if it's something else that you can do, if that makes you happy, if that brings you light in your day, you know, spending the 5 minutes with your plant. And, like, I've got, like, 15 or 20 plants in my room, so I'm good on that front. And, like, even an animal. Like, I have a dog that I got after a year sober, and he is my pride and joy. He is my love, but I care for him.
Yeah.
Right? As well as I care for myself.
Yeah.
And I keep my recovery as much as I love him, and he is my be all and end all. He is my favorite creature in this entire world. My recovery still comes before him.
And he doesn't hold you back from going to meetings.
Exactly. I can leave him alone at home for like 8.5 hours and it's not abuse, right? So like, there a minimum of a couple of years, you're working your steps and you can keep another thing alive.
Yeah.
Like besides yourself, whether it's a plant, whether it's an animal, something.
Yeah. So I have a friend that says you get a plant, and if you can keep the plant alive for a year, then you move to a goldfish. If you can keep the goldfish alive for a year, then you move to a dog or a cat. Okay. And then you work your way up to being in a healthy relationship, right?
Yeah. And like it's also tough because for so many years you would, at least myself, I'd be bouncing back and forth from relationship, never being able to hold a solid one for a long time. And then you're going to be by yourself and really like looking at yourself. Yeah. So that year, minimum 2 years, is a good solid amount of sobriety under your belt that you can feel like you can actually communicate with another human being.
I heard a speaker at a meeting, and he blew me away. I'll never forget it, because he was a young person sharing his story, and he had come like yourself into the fellowship very early. And I remember him saying, he said, why is it we try to convince ourselves that we can be in a relationship in the first year of recovery when no one has done it successfully?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That always stuck in my head. I was like, wow, someone actually had the nerve to say it, right?
Yeah, they definitely did. Like, if you're coming into recovery and, like, you're previously in a marriage or like you do have a long-term relationship, that is a little bit of a different situation, I would say.
Good.
But
so I wanted to touch base on that. What does that look like?
Well, so I can understand how alcoholism can definitely be a factor in some problems in people's relationships and marriages
Yeah.
and things like that. So I didn't come into the rooms in a relationship.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to make a full judgment on
Yeah.
this. So this is my like kind of quote unquote hearsay.
Yeah.
This is potentially what I would have done. You know, like I would still go into the rooms and focus on myself. If you're in a long-term relationship, your partner can potentially be supportive of you. You can hope that they would be and be understanding that this is a big step that you're taking in your life to try and better yourself and to better the relationship. So you would hope that they would be supportive
And hence why the big book has a whole chapter dedicated
to the wives.
to the wives, right?
Exactly. And like there are other groups and like other people that your spouse can contact and potentially get some help themselves into like helping you and so on and so forth and working together as a pair. If you guys have been together for a long time, I'm sure that whoever is the one who is admitting defeat, their partner knew a long time ago.
Yeah.
So you would hope and you would pray that the partner would be sitting there in the background, like cheering them on, being like, you go take your hour and do your thing, you know, like you want me to drive you? No? Okay, bye. Like, have a good evening. I'll see you when you get home. You know, like be very supportive of you.
There are, on the flip side of that coin, other issues, right? Where there's jealousy that they're spending too much time in their recovery or going to meetings and they're neglecting me, and so there's a there's a lot more going on than just the recovery, right? Because there's two people in this relationship, and so how you navigate that, right?
Yeah, and each one I'm sure would have their own specific, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like their own routines in a sense. And you would hope that they could communicate with each other enough to make sure that they were both comfortable on either end. It's a hard thing, and like I can't touch much on that because I don't know exactly. I came into the room single.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in a long-term relationship. I wasn't married, so it's not like I know how it could go, cuz like to me it seems like it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, like it can be super tough.
Yeah.
It could break some, but it could also make some.
Yeah, there's the old adage too, sick people attract sick people, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, how healthy is my spouse if she's married an alcoholic?
Yeah. But you never know.
But
maybe
you never know. Maybe I hit it, or and I can speak from my experience, which I did, right? From my first wife, she had no idea.
Okay.
You know, because I had kept it as much as I thought I was keeping it hush, and justifying my behaviors, and and she was younger than me and very naive, and it wasn't until after we got married, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff at play there. Yeah. What about recovery, relationships in recovery? And here's the big one, and I'm going to use this word, normies.
Ooh, yes. Funny. I love that word. Love that word. Honestly, one of my favorite words to use is people look at me.
Normie.
Yeah. Okay. It's iffy. I'm getting comfortable here, guys. My foot was falling asleep. Okay. So it's really a 50-50.
Yeah.
In my opinion. How did I word this? I just put my paper away. Why did I do this? Okay. Yeah. So dating someone in recovery, I can understand why people would really want to do that. But in the beginning, maybe not. Like within your first year, as we said. If you're within your first 2 years, probably not. Compared to dating a normie, as long as they are not and I hate to say it, but like hidden one of us. You know? Like I was in a relationship with someone who said that they were a casual drinker. That is not what the situation was. They hid it for a while. And then the next thing I knew, it was the complete opposite of being casual drinking. And then at that point, I was committed. And I didn't want to get out of that relationship because I cared about that person at that point. So it's kind of like, it's a scary thing to think of. Like, I don't know. I personally would rather and would feel more comfortable dating someone who at least understands the program.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they have to be in it,
Yeah.
but they at least have to really know what it's about.
Yeah.
And like the full depth of it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It is a lot of self-growth.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of time out of my day-to-day
Yeah.
that I spend working on my program.
Yeah.
And
And luckily, we're fortunate enough that we have great fellowships like Al-Anon,
Yes.
right? That help people, you know,
oh, for sure.
through that understanding,
Yeah.
and in turn allow that normie to grow themselves,
Exactly.
right? And personal growth and growth in their relationship with someone who has alcoholism or drug addiction. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
someone who at least really understands the program, that is a big thing that is a part of like what I would look for
Yeah.
in a partner.
Yeah.
Someone who understands, is either in the program and
Yeah.
working a solid program themselves
Yeah.
and has their solid basis
Yeah.
down, or someone who can relate, understand, or at least put in the work to
Yes.
understand.
Yeah.
You know, not
Yeah.
someone who's just going to sit there and be like, oh, well, why
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
you just stop drinking?
Yeah.
There's the difference.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a dry drunk for you because that's putting me in danger.
Do you think it's possible for relationships to happen where one is in recovery and one uses substances?
Yes and no. So, as it is all up to the person who is in the program. If they are comfortable with
Yeah.
that is on them.
Yeah.
But me, I couldn't be with someone who was drinking
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
I can't be with someone
Yeah.
who drinks every day. I could potentially be with someone who drinks casually if they drink at like a wedding
Yes.
or a random
Yes.
birthday, you know,
Yeah.
like little events.
Yeah.
That's fine. And they're going to have like a drink or two and be done with it.
Yeah.
That I could maybe handle,
Yeah.
but
But going on a 3-day binge when they're at the cottage.
yeah. Or like drinking for like a couple weekends straight,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
even just every weekend. Like that's a lot for me
Yeah.
to be around.
Yeah.
I don't need that or want that.
Yeah.
So it's all up to the person who's in the program,
Yeah.
I think.
And I think that's a journey that two people take together, right? And I think, you know, I'm married to a normie.
Okay.
And my normie isn't adverse to alcohol, but she doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Because she just doesn't like the effect it has.
Okay.
And she's just, you know, she doesn't
Not a
enjoy
drinker.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of lucky that way. Now that being said, if we back up a little, we dated for 2 years before we got married because she knew about alcoholism and she knew enough about the 12-step program that she knew that we had to like walk this out for a couple of years before she was ready to make that commitment to marry me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to see if you could work it
Yeah,
out.
because I always say it's no secret that I'm married up, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll be the first to admit it.
Perfect.
But she did, you know, she did her homework and she knew what the 12 steps were and what the fellowship was about and taking that time before we got married for her to really understand, you know, what life in recovery looks like, because you're marrying someone whose life is in recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
But we all don't do it.
No.
No.
No. I'm really sorry. I need to use the washroom.
Go
I'm
ahead.
like super fidgety right now. I feel like I'm going to explode.
Do.
Good thing we can cut this part out.
Good thing we can cut this part out. So if you're watching live, Michelle had to run to the washroom. We'll take a 30-second break. and then continue our conversation. This is the first time this has ever happened on our podcast. Thank goodness I work a program, because this would drive me off the wall.
I'm going to cut that part out too.
I'm surprised this actually hasn't happened to me. So, John, how are you?
I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
And she's back.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was
It's
like
okay.
sitting there, I'm like fidgeting. I'm like, I should have probably just gotten a small of my drink, not a large. Too late now. That's okay.
So,
So-
our next, we put some quotes together, and I want to talk about them.
Okay.
And Michelle and I are sharing the notes that we have, because we prepare her before she comes on air. And I put a quote in that's very popular in the 12-step fellowship in AA: under every skirt is a slip. And our producer, John, made a little note, and he said, Kevin, this is a sexist comment. It implies that women are the problem. And I agree with John, but the reason I put it in there is because we hear it all the time. And there's a
Yes.
reason why we hear it, and why do we hear that? It's a warning.
I was gonna say it's kind of a warning
Yeah.
to both
Male
and female to
Yeah.
kind of keep your eyes to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause it
especially in
can-
early recovery.
Yeah, because it can be tough in early recovery. You're like, you're connecting. You go to a meeting, you see someone of the opposite sex, or like if you're in the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
that's like, someone of the same sex,
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
And we're sharing very intimate
Yeah.
details about
our life
our
and our
life.
experience and
Yeah.
how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you are given the opportunity to talk to this person who can relate to you like
Yeah.
nobody else has
Yeah.
been able to before.
Yeah.
So if you go out and you're in fellowship outside of the church, or it's out of your meeting and you're talking, and all of a sudden this beautiful woman comes out, or like this beautiful man, and you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, like, I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah.
But it's like, in those words, it's a warning to be like, okay, no, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
If you're talking to them, being someone like myself, like I would go up to women and I would always be willing to work a 12th step
Yes.
and be positive and try and help them. But when it's the opposite sex, sometimes it can get iffy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not trying to keep out anybody in the LGBTQ community either, because like when it comes to that can be a touchy kind of subject when it comes to like being sponsee and sponsor and all that sort of stuff too. But it's more about like, if you have an attraction towards somebody, whomever they are,
Yeah.
steer clear at first.
Or a hidden attraction.
Yeah.
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 Those can be dangerous.
Yes.
They can be very
Yeah.
dangerous. And in those moments, if you're new, even if you're not, get advice from somebody.
Yeah.
Get someone's opinion on it and be like, okay, how do I feel about this? Talk to your sponsor.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody else who's been in the program for
Yeah.
a long time. Get more opinions about things before you jump on
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I think we become accustomed to being in those situations and being in recovery, and we forget that this is a life-threatening disease.
It is.
Right?
It really is.
And a wrong mistake can send us back out.
Yeah.
And for us to drink or use is to
die.
die.
Yeah, but the other thing too that you just kind of clicked my brain
Yeah.
into this as well.
Oh, I love doing that.
I know, it's great, right? I love when moments like
Yeah.
that happens and I can actually talk about it. How long have you been in the bars and then you see an attractive woman or a man or whomever,
Yeah.
and you walk up to them and you can just go and talk to them
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter. That's
Yeah.
okay. Now you're being put in an environment where it's not as positively looked upon.
Yes.
It's actually the opposite.
Yes.
It's more like
Yes.
people are going to try and intervene and
Yes.
try and protect you from yourself.
Yeah.
In certain cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I wish I listened to my sponsor at the beginning and didn't do what I did and started.
It's like having a wingman who doesn't want you to date,
exactly.
right?
I'm the one who's sitting here telling my sponsee, like, do not date.
Yeah.
Don't think about men.
Yeah.
Don't think about it at all right now. No. Last thing you need to be thinking about. And she's just like, okay, you know, how long? I'm like, we'll talk about it in a year. Okay. But right now, no. She's like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, next one. I walked away because you were too busy finding faults in me and I was busy overlooking yours.
Ooh. Taking someone else's
what do we
inventory.
Thank you.
Yeah. Taking someone else's inventory.
Taking someone else's inventory. Why do we do it?
Because we are trying to make ourselves feel better.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Blunt, honest, upfront. That's me.
Well, you know, it's
so true.
Yeah.
I did it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're driving and you're like, oh, that damn idiot who's not paying attention.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, that person that pissed me off that one day, or that coworker, they just can't get their stuff straight. They can't do this. They can't do that. Oh, I'm looking at the person that I was with. Well, why can't you be more supportive of me?
Yeah.
Why can't you be more understanding?
Yeah, and then that leads to the big control issues as well, right?
Yeah, let go of that damn steering wheel, guys.
Yeah. If you only did what I wanted you to do or wanted you to do, then life would be perfect.
If you just listened to me and paid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Do you really hear what I'm trying to say? Yeah. All that fun stuff.
Okay, the next one is one I read this week and I really liked it. It says, don't unlock the doors to your heart for someone who won't even unlock their cell phone for you.
Amen. Thank you. When I printed out this paper that was on my second sheet and it was at the top and it was the first thing I saw and I was like, hallelujah.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It is so true. And you know what? Nowadays with instant gratification and just so many, again, quotations, options out there and so many things at your fingertips, just so easily accessible.
Yeah.
You know how many partners like will cheat on their significant others and will hide things and lie about things and all. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like myself, I'm a fairly honest and upfront person. That's the way that I've always been.
Yeah.
But a lot of people take you for a run for your money, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
And they'll be talking to like multiple different people.
Yeah.
And seeing which one sticks around or which one's worthy of it. And it's like, no, stop that. Like, can you not just be honest and open with me as I'm doing with you?
I remember talking to someone and I asked them because they had just gotten married and I said, does your wife have your access to your cell phone? Can she unlock your cell phone? And he said no. And I said, why not?
Yeah.
And he just stared at me. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I think you've already answered that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even me, like I'm a person, I've got nothing to hide about anything in my life. Like
because we work, what does the big book say? We work an honest program, right?
Yeah.
And so honesty till it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it does hurt.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, like I feel bad being as honest as I am.
Yeah.
But my friends also know not to ask me for my opinion unless they want the honest truth.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that for me as well. Because without that, where we wouldn't have the relationship that we do as my friend or
and that's part of what the 12 steps teach us is we can be honest without being a total jerk.
Of
right?
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. See that, John? I picked a good word there.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's really good too. If you try to build intimacy with another person before you have done the hard work of getting whole on your own, all of your relationships become a vain attempt to complete yourself. And what did you say to me?
Trying to fill a void.
Trying to fill a void.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there, done that.
This is what I always say to my friends and people in recovery is when they want to start dating or they want to start a relationship, I always say, what do you have to offer?
Yeah.
What do you have to offer the other person? Because, I mean, I know from being married that a relationship, it's not about me anymore.
No.
It's not about me.
No,
It's
not at
about
all.
the other person. And so if I don't have a lot to offer and I'm looking to fill my hole
Yep.
or my void,
Yeah.
the vacuum, how is that relationship going to turn out?
Horribly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to have your, to put it in layman's terms, your sobriety in check.
Yeah.
Because that is still always going to be number one.
What does that mean to you?
What does that mean to
Yeah,
me?
because we hear that a lot.
That means working a solid program.
Yeah.
That means having done the 12 steps, be doing service, be active in the community, have a sponsor and sponsees. Well, you don't even need to have sponsees, but have a sponsor. And be living as best to your ability how the 12 steps and how the big book has provided you with the answers. Living with a spiritual side, whether it's with God or higher power or whatever it is, you have that in your life. You have that solidified and your solid program down pat, like what you do for work. Like when I wake up in the morning, I have my routine. When I go to bed at night, I have my routine. There's certain things that are about me and my recovery that will never change.
Yeah.
Well, maybe tweaked along the way, right? But like I have peace within myself and I have my connection with my higher power and I'm able to live happily with it.
My sponsor always just say the 3 pieces of the pie: peace with myself, peace with God, and peace with others. And when you get those lined up, everything is wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you do have things to offer.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to offer your true, authentic self.
Yeah.
And who you are deep down inside. And usually it's a very caring and loving and compassionate person.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the last one.
Okay.
That was good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The Al-Anon Big Book. Genuine, healthy love isn't self-destructive. It doesn't diminish us or strip us of our identities, nor does it in any way diminish those we love. Love is nourishing. It allows each of us to be more fully ourselves. The enmeshment that characterizes an alcoholic relationship does just the opposite. That's a lot.
That is a lot to take in, but it is all very true.
Love is nourishing. It allows each of us to be more fully ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's not about taking.
It's about adding.
Yes.
It's not that this person that's coming into your life is going to be taking a piece of you away.
Yeah.
They're going to be adding to you to better you as a person.
Or giving you that piece.
Yeah, or giving you the piece that maybe you were missing, and you are able to do the same for them. You add to each other, you lift each other up, you love each other, you get nothing but positivity from each other. There's obviously it's not 24/7 going to be perfect, but you can work through it without breaking.
One of the things that the Big Book says is it's a program of constant growth. It says it 3 times.
Yeah.
Right? A program of growth, and that we're always constantly growing.
Yeah.
And my sponsor used to say it's really simple, right? You're either growing or you're dying. You're either in recovery or you're in relapse. You never stand still.
Yeah,
right?
You're working on recovery or you're working on relapse. Like
and
someone
so
used
I think
to say,
relationships are the same, right?
Yeah.
Relationships are supposed to be constant growth with one another.
Of course, you're pushing each other in positive ways.
Yeah.
You're pushing each other to do more of the things that you know the other one loves.
Yeah.
And maybe becoming a part of that and finding a piece of yourself in that as well. You can get so many positive things from a good relationship.
Yeah.
But the hard part is being ready for that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be scary and it can be
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Someone coming up to me and being like, "Oh, do you want to be in a relationship?" I'm like, no. And then I run away because I'm scared, because I'm
Yeah.
scared of that. I've been hurt a lot in my past, and
Yeah.
like that does affect me a little bit in certain aspects, but I've learned to not bring that into new things in my life. Because what I looked for and what I put up with previous is completely different than what I will accept now.
Yeah.
And that is
That's,
from the grace of God.
yeah. It's
Like,
growth.
yeah, and it's growth.
It's growth. It's huge growth.
It is. It is, because what I put up with and what I was okay with even a year ago is like the last thing that I would put up with now.
Yeah.
And it's like I would rather be by myself with my higher power and my dog, us three together facing the world alone, than be in something that's negative.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I'd be able to say something like that.
Yeah.
And I can truly say that now.
Yeah.
Because I feel that. And it's honestly where I would rather be if I didn't. Everybody has their person.
Yeah.
They'll come to you when they're meant to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever that is, and whenever you're ready, that's not up to you.
Yeah.
That's why you handed over control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the serenity prayer comes in big with that, right?
Oh, yeah. I say that
God,
way too
grant
much.
me the serenity to accept
the things I cannot change.
Yeah.
The courage
and
to
if-
change the
if-
things
if-
I can.
If God's put me in this place today where I shouldn't be in a relationship, then I need to listen to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if they put something in front of you that is a good thing that
Yep.
maybe could end up somewhere positive, and you keep getting that pull,
Yeah.
at a certain point, you have to give something a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sooner or later, it's going to have to come up. But as long as you have your solid footing underneath you, with your higher power underneath that holding you up,
Yeah.
you'll be okay.
Away we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fly away.
Beautiful. Okay.
Perfect.
We got to go to questions and answers.
Okay.
Are we ready, John?
Do you want to jump right into that, or do you want to do end of show announcements?
I'll do end of show announcements first. See, that's why I have a producer, right? Because he reminds me of all these things, even though it's written down on the paper in front of me. So stay tuned to your favorite streaming platform next week. This will be edited and be nicely sounding, and you can listen to it again if we talk too quick. I know sometimes I do.
You won't hear me running away from for the bathroom. Sorry, guys.
Upcoming guest for our next podcast is Kate Burkholder Harris from the Alliance to End Homelessness on October 14th. I'm really looking forward to that one. And and remember that our podcast is every 2 weeks now. So we're going to have another Voice of Recovery at the end of October. So I'm not going to tell you who it is. Stay tuned for that. And remember, check out Jericho Road on all your social media platforms. We're there on all of them. Even check me out on LinkedIn. Send me a message if you're not on Facebook, because I'm not on Facebook, so I can understand if you're not. But if you want to reach out, just go on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah. And if you have any questions or just want to reach out and talk, man, we love community. We love yabbing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, John, question and answer time.
All right, so we have from Chris Anka. What is your favorite quality about yourself since you've come into recovery?
What is your favorite quality about yourself since you've come into recovery?
Huh. That is a really good question. Like, that's like deep.
Wow,
That is intense.
first question.
Yeah, like really hitting in the feels there.
Can I start?
Yeah, you start,
'Cause
please.
okay.
I need a second to think.
So for me, it's honesty. Because I spent my whole life lying to everybody around me and lying to myself. And to be able to be honest with others and not ever have to remember the lie that I told, it's priceless to me. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Or to be real honest, if I haven't been honest.
Yeah.
And that one takes a bit more
Oomph.
It takes a bit more prayer and a bit more God to get me there. But I'm human, and sometimes I'll say things that aren't exactly the truth, and I'll have to go back and work this program and say, I did not say the truth. This is the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, your
That's
turn.
hard to do. Okay. So I would say it's a toss-up between honesty as well,
Yeah.
like yourself, and my dependability.
Oh.
So the fact that people can rely on me
Yeah.
now, that is like a big one for me, because before I never knew where I was going,
Yeah.
what I was going to be doing, where I was going to be, if I was going to be able to be there for anybody.
Yeah.
Like my sister, when she got pregnant, I luckily was sober then.
Yeah.
I was able to go see my niece the day that she was born.
Yeah.
If I was drinking,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And the fact that my sister, my best friend, can rely on me
Yeah.
and depend on me to be there for her
And if you say you're going to be somewhere,
I'm going to be there.
yeah.
That was something that wasn't me before.
Yeah.
I would be scatterbrained and all over the place 24/7. And now someone can ask me and be like, hey, can you be here and do this at this time? Yeah.
Do you find it hard saying the word no?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Do I. It's something that I've had to learn in this journey.
Yeah, yes and no. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I can turn around and easily tell someone no.
Yeah.
Are you ready to be going back to work? No.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get yourself another dog? My mother would kill me, and she's probably listening and laughing right now. No, I'm
Yeah.
not ready for that.
Yeah.
All these things that I know that I'm not 100% ready for. I can say no, but there are the things that I'm on the fence about.
Yeah.
And it's I sit there and I teeter-totter for
Yeah.
a little bit before I make my decision. Yeah.
Good question, though, eh?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. Good
yeah.
for you. Good for you for literally hitting both of us right in the face, right off the bat. Love it. Love it.
Next, John.
So this one's for myself, specifically more towards Michelle.
Okay.
And it kind of ties into earlier in the conversation. So what's it like being a woman in the program with the old phrase, it's an old boys club?
What's it like being a woman in the 12-step fellowship when it's a lot of times the old boys club?
Being a young woman.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, being a young woman. Thank you, John.
Love it.
Beauty.
I love it. Straight up. There's so many amazing women in this program that I would have never got the experience to meet without going to these boy clubs, quote unquote, again, my little whatevers. No, it's amazing because you know what? As much as it's a boys club, which it's not now, it is different. There's a lot of women in recovery.
And with the sorry to interrupt,
No,
but with
that's
the
okay.
abundance of meetings now too,
Yeah,
right?
there's so
Yeah.
many women's meetings as well
Yeah.
that are available, and there are so awesome women in recovery, and there are awesome men in the rooms too that are helpful.
Yeah.
It's not like I only get my experiences and my knowledge and my learning and my outtake on things from what women say. It's not like I tune out the boys.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, it's good and it's bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can feel a little bit outnumbered.
Yeah.
Being in a meeting of a bunch of men and let's say me and there's one other woman. Sometimes we can feel a little outnumbered.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have a right to be there.
Yeah.
And I've never been looked down on because I'm a young woman in the program. If anything, I've been looked up to.
Yeah.
Because I came in the room so early and I
Yes.
got lucky to be able to experience.
I know for me, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and like I look at it like that now too. Like I'm young and I'm a woman. I've got sobriety under my belt, and I can share the message that I was so lucky to receive
Yeah.
to other people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Any others, John?
Two more.
Two more, okay?
And from Darcy, what are 3 qualities that you would look for in a partner?
What are 3 qualities you would look for in a partner?
Oh.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you, Darcy.
Yeah. Great. You or me first.
I think, wow. I think the top 3 are really a reflection of who I am. And so, the qualities would be authentic, honest, and adaptable.
Like, yeah, I hit the nail on the head for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you need the honesty, because that's where the communication comes into play too.
Without honesty, we have nothing.
Exactly. Adaptability is amazing and important, because especially along your journey in recovery, things are going to change, and the immediate need of certain things are going to diminish, and then others are going to increase. So it's like, it's someone who can sit there and look at you and love you for who you are, even your flaws.
Yeah.
That is like all in all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And last but not least, John?
What has been your biggest challenge in recovery since you got clean?
What has been your biggest challenge in recovery since you got clean?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So like I deal with mental health on top of being an alcoholic and being an addict.
Yeah.
So I think my biggest hurdle in this past year, and like it has been a big one for me, is working on my mental health as well as staying on top of my program. That, and like actually admitting that I needed more help than I thought that I did. And like really re-giving up that power and being like, I can't do this anymore. I can't hold this in any longer. And I admitted like complete and utter defeat over something that I thought that I had a grasp on.
Yeah.
That was probably
and how did you come to that realization?
I broke down.
Yeah.
Like I had handed over a lot, almost everything, except I think that was the one thing that I was holding on to, because I was scared that if I let that go, I would either slip or I would be going on medications that were going to affect me in certain ways. And I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared of believing that I wasn't like chemically balanced, So it was a scary thing. I had just nipped in the butt, like all of these things, and I had worked my program. I had put in the work. I had done the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Like I had gone through my steps. I had done everything. I had really let everything go.
Yeah.
I thought that I did.
Yeah.
But then after a certain period of time, like all that suppressed emotion that I had been holding down with booze for so many years, all of that, it came up slowly in the beginning. And then all of a sudden it almost felt like there was like a lodge, and then it just like overpowered, like everything came back up again. And I'm like, okay. So I redid a 4th and a 5th. I did what I had to do. I took some time off work, and I'm working on getting back. And, I'm doing what I need to do to better my mental health. But on top of that, my sobriety is still like huge in that too. Yeah. Staying sober while doing all that has been tough as well.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah. Like it's not easy to sit there and feel emotions that you hadn't felt for 10 years or now 13. Yeah. And then all of a sudden this emotion is coming up, and I'm like, why do I feel like this? That I think in my journey so far, that has probably been one of the hardest things that I've been doing. But I'm getting my feet back under me. I'm feeling a lot better than I was. But it's still a work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we all always are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I was thinking of when you said you went back and revisited your steps, right? Because the steps are circular. They're not linear.
No, of
right?
course not.
We keep going around and around. And
Circles.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just one thing that hit me while you were talking. I remember reading a book Bill W. wrote called Emotional Sobriety and what that looks like. And that's a big one.
Yeah.
Right? That's
it
a
is.
big one.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to sit there and talk to a woman who I had known for about a whole whopping 4 months of my life and tell her my ins and outs of everything that I had, like, that was a lot to do when I wouldn't even tell like my partner or my best friend these things. And I have to tell this stranger something. Yeah. That was big. But you know what? Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
But worth it in the long run. It was just it is a big part of sobriety as well, the emotional maturity.
We're way past time, but that's okay. What I want to know, what advice would you give someone who's experiencing mental health issues along with their recovery?
Reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out, call your doctor, get an assessment done, because I got an assessment about a year ago and it's not that it was incorrect, but it didn't fully answer all the questions. Yeah. I got one about 2-3 months ago and it was like a nail on the head, and like now my treatment, my medication, everything, like it's still kind of up in the air a little bit, getting sleep back in order and blah blah blah. But no, it's worth it.
Good.
Because there are a lot of resources out there to help you. Yeah. So I know it's scary and I know it's intimidating and you don't want to seem like you're weak, but you're not weak for asking for help. You're actually stronger.
Beautiful. Wow. I couldn't have said that any better.
Yeah.
Okay. We're out of time.
That's fine.
Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
We'll let everybody know that you were kind of a fill-in because we had someone planned for this and something happened, and I asked you, and like a true AA trooper, you said yes immediately.
100%. I'm there.
So thank you for coming. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being honest. And most of all, thank you for sharing, because I know what you said tonight is going to help somebody. And so from the bottom of my heart, thanks for being here.
And it is not a problem at all.
Okay. God bless you. Bye,
God
everybody.
bless you. Bye.
We'll see you next recovery episode. Bye.